"Don't shoot, he's just a waiter." A terrified woman screamed as armed security guards surrounded 17-year-old Malik Carter inside the grand ballroom of the Kensington Country Club. Wealthy guests dropped to the floor in panic while crystal glasses shattered across the marble tiles. Malik stood frozen near the stage, breathing hard, his white waiter uniform stained with blood that didn't even belong to him. Phones were already recording from every direction. Some people hid behind tables while others shouted for police. The richest families in Chicago thought they were witnessing an assassination attempt live in front of their eyes. Just 20 seconds earlier, billionaire Richard Kensington had collapsed during his speech after the ballroom lights suddenly exploded into darkness. Guests heard a loud bang, women started screaming, and when the emergency lights turned back on, Malik was standing beside Richard with blood on his sleeves. That was all security needed to see. 3 guards tackled Malik violently onto the stage, hands behind your back. One screamed, "I didn't touch him." Malik yelled desperately while cameras flashed in his face. He fell on broken glass, but nobody wanted explanations, because to them, Malik was just the poor black waiter who never belonged there in the first place. One wealthy woman pointed at him with shaking hands. "I knew something felt wrong about him the second I saw him tonight." Another man muttered loudly, "These people are dangerous." Malik's chest burned with humiliation as security forced his face against the stage floor in front of hundreds of rich guests. His mother's voice echoed inside his head, telling him to stay calm no matter how badly people treated him. He needed this job more than anything. His mother's hospital treatments were already months overdue, and this country club paid more than anywhere else willing to hire someone from his neighborhood. But tonight, everything had gone wrong. Richard Kensington groaned weakly on the ballroom floor while terrified doctors rushed toward him. Blood dripped beside shattered glass near the stage stairs. The security guards kept screaming at Malik like he was some kind of criminal mastermind. Then suddenly, the entire ballroom began shaking. At first people thought it was an earthquake. Chandeliers rattled violently overhead. Plates crashed off tables. Guests screamed and rushed toward the exits. But the electronic doors suddenly locked automatically. "What's happening?" someone shouted. A deep, metallic sound echoed beneath the ballroom floor. Then came the explosion. Crack! The massive wooden stage split directly underneath Malik's body with such force that security guards stumbled backward in terror. Dust blasted into the air while pieces of marble shot across the room. Rich guests screamed and covered their heads as part of the ballroom floor slowly began sinking downward like some giant hidden elevator. And right beneath Malik, an underground steel vault began rising from the darkness. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. The vault looked ancient, covered in rust and hidden beneath decades of concrete. Thick chains hung from its sides while old emergency lights flickered around it. It was like something buried on purpose and forgotten by history itself. Howard Kensington, the 80-year-old founder of the club, suddenly stood from his chair looking horrified. "No," he whispered weakly. "It can't be." Malik stared at the giant steel structure rising from beneath the stage while security slowly lowered their guns in confusion. The old vault door had one symbol carved into the front. A golden lion, the exact same lion Malik wore around his neck on an old necklace his grandfather gave his mother before he died. Malik's heartbeat nearly stopped. One trembling reporter stepped closer with her camera. "Why does he have the same symbol?" Howard Kensington looked like he was about to collapse, because he recognized it immediately. The vault made a loud hissing sound before ancient locks slowly turned by themselves. Clank, clank, clank. Then the steel door opened. Inside sat dusty photographs, old legal papers, stacks of cash bonds, and one black videotape labeled "Property of Elijah Carter." The entire ballroom fell silent. Malik froze, because Elijah Carter was his grandfather. Suddenly, an old projector inside the vault flickered on automatically, and a giant screen descended from the ballroom ceiling. Static filled the room before an old black and white video appeared. A young black man wearing construction clothes stood proudly in front of the unfinished country club sometime in the 1960s. "My name is Elijah Carter," the man said calmly into the camera. "And if you are watching this, it means they finally failed to erase me." Gasps spread across the ballroom instantly. Several wealthy guests looked at Howard Kensington in confusion. The video continued. "I designed this club, I built this club, and this land legally belongs to my family." One woman dropped her wine glass in shock. Richard Kensington's face turned completely pale on the floor. Malik could barely breathe. The same people who called him dangerous only moments earlier were now staring at him like they had just seen a ghost rise from the dead. Elijah walked through the old construction site in the video, while workers moved behind him. Certain powerful men believed America would never accept a black owner running the most luxurious country club in the state, Elijah said. "So they stole everything from me. Howard Kensington closed his eyes slowly like a man carrying a secret for 50 years. They threatened my family. They buried the truth beneath this building. But I created this vault for one reason. Elijah looked directly into the camera. One day my bloodline would return. The projector suddenly displayed old documents across the giant ballroom screen. Ownership contracts, bank records, blueprints signed by Elijah Carter himself, photographs beside governors and businessmen. Every piece of evidence proved the same thing. Malik's grandfather was the true founder of Kensington Country Club. The ballroom exploded into chaos. Guests shouted over each other while reporters rushed forward like sharks smelling blood. Some wealthy members immediately tried leaving, but police arriving outside blocked the exits after reports of explosions and gun threats. Security guards no longer knew who to point weapons at. One reporter shoved a microphone toward Howard Kensington. "Did your family steal this club from a black businessman?" Howard couldn't answer. Richard Kensington suddenly screamed from the floor, "Turn that video off!" But it was too late. America had already seen everything. Malik stood silently in the middle of the chaos, while thousands of emotions crashed through his chest at once. Anger, confusion, pain, pride, his entire life. People treated his family like nobodies. His mother worked double shifts until her body broke down. Bills destroyed them. Banks rejected them. Teachers underestimated him. Rich people looked through him like he was invisible. And now the truth sat in front of the entire world. Not only had his family built the country club, it had been stolen from them. Police officers flooded the ballroom with flashlights and assault rifles while terrified guests pushed against each other trying to escape the madness unfolding inside the country club. Reporters shouted questions. Non-stiff security guards looked completely lost. Just minutes ago, they had been ready to drag Malik Carter out of the building in handcuffs. Now every camera in the room was focused on him like he was the center of a national scandal. Malik stood beside the open vault in complete shock while dust still floated through the air around him. His hands trembled. He kept staring at the old photograph lying inside the vault. It showed his grandfather Elijah standing beside the original country club entrance with a confident smile on his face. Under the photo were handwritten words faded with age. "They can steal the building, but they can never steal our name." Malik swallowed hard. For years his mother told stories about Elijah Carter like he was some forgotten legend nobody believed anymore. She used to sit beside Malik during power outages in their tiny apartment and describe how Elijah came home from war, determined to build something powerful for black families during a time America barely allowed them inside luxury spaces. According to her, Elijah designed buildings smarter than most engineers in the city, but white businessmen used his talent while making sure he never received public credit. Malik remembered laughing once as a child. "You really think Grandpa owned a country club?" he had asked. His mother never laughed back. "He built something they were terrified to let him keep," she whispered that night. Now Malik finally understood what she meant. Across the ballroom, Howard Kensington slowly walked toward the vault while reporters chased behind him. The old billionaire looked 20 years older than he did earlier that evening. His expensive suit hung loosely on his body while shame filled his tired eyes. "Everybody out?" Howard suddenly ordered weakly. Nobody listened. One reporter shoved the microphone near his face. "Did your family illegally steal ownership from Elijah Carter?" Howard looked at Malik silently before answering. "My father did." The room exploded with noise again. Some guests gasped loudly while others immediately began recording closer videos for social media. Police officers exchanged confused looks. One young female reporter nearly shouted over the chaos, "You knew this entire time." Howard rubbed his face slowly. "Not the entire time. But you knew eventually." Howard nodded once. Malik felt anger rising deep inside his chest. His family spent decades suffering while powerful men buried the truth beneath expensive marble floors. His mother worked herself into sickness cleaning houses for rich families while the people who stole from them drank champagne above a hidden vault filled with evidence. Richard Kensington suddenly pushed himself off the floor angrily despite doctors trying to stop him. "This means nothing," he shouted while blood stained his shirt sleeve. Those documents could be fake. But even he sounded desperate now. The projector instantly switched to another hidden recording before anybody could react. This time the video showed a younger Howard Kensington arguing with his father inside an office sometime during the 1980s. "You stole his company," young Howard shouted in the footage. His father slammed whiskey onto the desk angrily. "I protected this family. You destroyed his..." Because nobody would have joined a black-owned country club back then. The ballroom fell silent again. Every excuse, every lie, every hidden truth was now exposing itself publicly, in front of cameras. Malik watched Howard lower his head in shame as guests stared at him with disgust. For the first time in decades, the Kensington family looked weak. Then another voice suddenly broke through the crowd. Malik, he turned instantly. His mother stood near the ballroom entrance wearing hospital clothes beneath a winter coat, breathing hard like she'd run through the entire building. Nissa stood behind her while police tried controlling the entrance chaos outside. Tears already streamed down her face before Malik even moved. Mom. Malik rushed toward her through the crowd. The moment she grabbed his face, she started crying harder. I told you, she whispered shakily. I told you your grandfather was never lying. Malik hugged her tightly while cameras captured everything. Guests watched silently as the woman they once ignored stood in the middle of the richest ballroom in Chicago looking stronger than every billionaire around her. Howard slowly approached them. Malik immediately stepped in front of his mother protectively. You stay away from us. Howard nodded painfully. You have every right to hate me. You stole our lives, Malik snapped. My mom nearly died working herself to death while your family partied above the truth. Howard couldn't argue, because Malik was right. The old billionaire looked toward Malik's mother with regret filling his eyes. Your father trusted mine, he said softly, and my family betrayed him. Malik's mother wiped tears from her cheeks. My father died heartbroken, believing nobody would ever know the truth. Howard stared at the open vault. He knew someday they would. Outside the ballroom, sirens and helicopters now surrounded the country club. News of the hidden vault had spread across social media within minutes. Reporters from national television stations flooded the property while live-stream titles exploded online. Black waiter discovers family-owned country club all along. Stolen empire exposed live hidden racism scandal rocks billionaire family. Inside the ballroom, police investigators began collecting evidence from the vault carefully. Lawyers arrived. Politicians started calling phones non-stop. The scandal was growing too large to contain. Then one officer approached Malik carefully. Sir, he said respectfully, there's something else you need to see. The officer handed Malik another item recovered from the vault, a sealed letter. His name was written on the front in faded ink. For my grandson. Malik's breathing stopped. His mother covered her mouth in shock. With shaking hands, Malik slowly opened the envelope while cameras zoomed closer from every direction. Inside sat a handwritten letter from Elijah Carter himself. Malik unfolded the paper carefully. If you are reading this, the letter began, then you already know the world can be cruel to people who look like us. They will insult you before learning your name. They will doubt you before seeing your talents. And some will hate you simply because your skin reminds them that greatness was never meant to belong only to them. Malik felt tears burning his eyes. The ballroom remained completely silent. But never shrink yourself to make hateful people comfortable, Elijah wrote. The men who stole from me believed power belonged only to certain families. That lie poisoned America long before you were born. But if my blood still walks this earth, then our story is not over. Malik looked up slowly, while every person in the ballroom watched him. You are not descended from slaves alone, the letter continued. You are descended from builders, creators, survivors. Remember that when the world tries to make you feel small. By now, even some reporters were crying quietly. Malik's mother completely broke down beside him. Then came the final line. And one day, when the truth finally rises again, walk into that building with your head high, because it was always ours. Malik lowered the letter slowly. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then something unexpected happened. One by one, staff members from around the ballroom began stepping forward behind Malik. Dishwashers, waiters, valets, cooks, cleaners. Most were Black or Latino workers who spent years invisible to wealthy members. Tonight, for the first time, they stood proudly beside one another in silence. Not servants, not background people, witnesses. The entire power inside the ballroom had shifted, and everybody could feel it.